Hey everybody, good morning. You got to have a fun little view of me talking to no one because I didn't unmute my mic. Hi! If you are unfamiliar with me, my name's Eugenio, also known as DM Jazzy Hands. Welcome, glad you're here. Sad that we can't play Neverwinter together this morning, although honestly it was just something to do with my hands while I drank some coffee and chatted with whoever decided to show up, so not the end of the world. And instead, we will prep for my D&D game later today, which is also totally fine. Um, yeah, so I just noticed a very strange thing going on in this artwork right here. Oh, you can't see what I'm pointing at because it's not capturing my cursor. But anyway, right on the nose of this demon face. Looks like it's split weird. Anyway, so yeah, I this will be my third session of Tomb of Annihilation with just three friends, small party of three. I forgot what level they were last week when we played and killed one of the characters. Whoops. But he got brought back to life, sort of. So my friend didn't have to make a new character right away, although he was totally willing to. Anyway, yeah. We're just going to look through what we're doing today. There will be spoilers for Tomb of Annihilation at the early game of Tomb of Annihilation, if you're not familiar with it, just so you know. I'm going to be showing a little bit of stuff from D&D Beyond and from Roll20, thanks to both of those companies for helping me with my prep and with all my stuff. D&D Beyond is a supporter of my podcast. We super appreciate that. And Roll20 is a great service for online playing, so, go check them out and stuff. Let's dive in. Also, feel free to interrupt me and chat about whatever at any point. I'll try and keep an eye on the chat while I'm going through stuff in here. I don't have headphones on because there's no sound playing for any of this. I feel like I should have some music playing in the background, but I know there are rules about that, and I don't know what they are. So I feel naked without my headphones. It's very strange. Also, my hair is very floofy today, but I'm not really sure you can see that very clearly, so it's fine. What else? That's about it. Let's dive in. So far the we should talk about who the characters are. So far, let's see, let me pull this up. Oh, it's gonna do that every time, isn't it? It sure is. That's okay. Okay. So far, we have three characters. There's Lassie, the Loxodon Barbarian. If you are not familiar with Loxodons, they are creatures of Ravnica, the Magic the Gathering setting. Man, this is bright on my face. I'm going to close that window for just a few minutes. They are elephantine humanoids from the plane of Ravnica, or the world of Ravnica, from the Magic the Gathering game. And Lassie found her way to Baldur's Gate in the Forgotten Realms. That's a whole story. And then once in Baldur's Gate, she met up with the other adventurers, met up with Sindra Sylvain, a former adventurer who had been raised from the dead and is now currently afflicted by the death curse and is wasting away. And then they were all sent to Chult. So that's Lassie. Next up we have Vex. Vex is a Water Genasi bard. She's the only one who is native to the Forgotten Realms. She's also, player-wise, she is brand new to D&D. I ran a two-shot with her and some other friends, and that was her first two D&D games, and now we're doing this longer form campaign, so that's very exciting. I think she's enjoying. We'll find out. And last but not least is Sharon. If you're familiar with my podcast, Sharon is played by Alex, who plays Flick on the podcast. Sharon died. Sharon is a Kalishtar sorcerer. Sharon came from Eberron. That is another whole story. They were out exploring the jungles of Chult on their way to Fort Balurian from Port Nyanzaru. We'll talk about what all these places are in a minute. But they ran afoul of some yellow creeper zombies and flowers. And unfortunately, Sharon bit it. And so she died. But a mysterious figure named Nanny Poopoo happened to be nearby and agreed to bring Sharon back to life. And of course, the party was doubtful because the whole point of the story of this campaign is that anyone who has been brought back to life by resurrection magic or revivify, raise dead, any of those, are slowly fading away and wasting away. And of course, anyone new who dies can't be affected by those spells. So the party was suspicious, but Nanny Poopoo insisted that she could do it as long as they provided certain things, including a humanoid sacrifice, and they bought an expensive gem. So they went and found a goblin. captured the goblin, brought it back. Nanny Poo Poo sacrificed the goblin and brought Sharon back to life with a few changes. Sharon now is technically... Yeah, hey, Teos, how you doing? Um, yeah, so Sharon is alive, sort of. She's technically undead and can be affected by things that affect undead. She is slowly losing her max hit points because of the death curse and the wasting away of the body that she now has. So that's not great, but there you go. That was entirely my fault for forgetting that they were only first level when I threw that all at them last week. Yeah, well, it's fine. What else can I say about the campaign so far? Oh, if you're familiar with the campaign... Okay, so let's do an overview of what Tomb of Annihilation is, in case you're not familiar. The idea is, as I've already mentioned, there is some sort of mysterious death curse going on, where anyone who's been raised from the dead is wasting away, and no one new can be raised from the dead. An ex-adventurer named Sindra Sylvain has contracted our characters to go try and investigate and hopefully stop the death curse. All she knows is that it seems like the source of the curse is something called a soulmonger, some sort of very powerful magic item perhaps, and that it's probably located somewhere in the jungles of Chult. That's all we got. The way that it's written, the death curse is supposed to reduce everyone who's been raised from the dead, so including Sindra, our group patron who hired us. It's supposed to reduce their max HP by 1 every day, and Sindra has 70-something hit points remaining, so that gives us 70-something days to solve this adventure. Also, now that Sharon has died and been brought back in this weird undead form, she's supposed to lose 1d4 max hit points every day, and that just ain't gonna happen. Because Sharon is 2nd level and doesn't have that many hit points. And also, one of my big, not problems, but like things that I wanted to change about the way this campaign is written is that sort of ticking time bomb of losing a hit point a day or losing 1d4 hit points a day for Sharon. It really feels to me like it rushes the characters through what is an awesome, chocked full of cool shit adventure. And it really makes them it gives them a sense of urgency, which is of course exciting, but it rushes them right to the end as quickly as they can possibly get there. And I don't want them to rush. We're not in any hurry to finish this campaign. I want them to be able to explore Chult, and take in as much or as little, I suppose, as they want of the cool stuff that's in Chult. So I've switched it up. People who are afflicted by the death curse who have been raised from the dead now lose 1 hit point per 10 day. So that gives us 2 years, essentially, which I know really drops the urgency. But I don't care. I think they feel it's pretty urgent anyway, and because they're, game players who are willing to go along with the premise of my campaign, which I appreciate. And for Sharon, she's going to lose 1d4 minus 1 hit points per 10 day. Having played this campaign, I hated not being able to explore things or return to civilization because of the countdown timer. Yeah, exactly. And I want them to be able to come back to Fort Balurian, to come back to Port Nyanzaru. So for Sharon, normally it's supposed to be 1d4 every day. We're doing 1d4 minus 1 every 10 days. So there's an opportunity for Sharon to go a 10 day and not lose any max hit points if she rolls 1 on her d4. So yeah. Those are my big adjustments just to give them some breathing room and to explore, because there's all kinds of cool stuff here, and I don't want them to miss a lot of it, and I want them to not feel from the very beginning of the campaign that they're rush. So what's happened so far? They showed up in Port Nyanzaru with Sindra, and we're told that Sindra was going to be staying with a friend of hers who's a merchant prince of the city, and that they should just start investigating and exploring as best they could. The group had a blast exploring Port Nyanzaru, and they haven't even seen everything. They haven't even found the dinosaur races yet. They did find the gladiator arena. They found I'm blanking on the name of it right now, but the death gauntlet where they send prisoners to try and race through a gauntlet of horrible beasties for their freedom. They have met a couple of merchant princes at this point. They stayed at the Thundering Lizard, a wild raucous inn. They had a great time. Yeah, the ticking clock can be too much. I use a phase approach when I ran this rather than a ticking clock. New Death Curse phases could take place when they reached a new phase rather than just being time. That's not a bad idea too. I like that. I'm going to see, since I've already told them and established that it's we've slowed down the pace and it's once a 10-day these things happen, we're going to go with that for a little while. But if even that feels like it's too ticking clocky, particularly with Sharon, if she rolls a bunch of 4s and suddenly has, 8 max hit points at 2nd or 3rd level, like that could push them to want to do some other things. So that's not a bad idea. We may bring that in later. Let me actually make a little note of that. Oh God, it's so bright. Death Curse options. So right now we've got, let's make this one bold since it's what we're doing. Right now we've got reduction in HP happens once per 10-day. But another totally viable option is phases of curse intensify effects at, let's say, DM determined intervals. Kind of like that too. Out of curiosity, Teus, what were the phases? What were the different effects at the different phases that happened? Was it just that each phase was a reduction in HP and you just didn't have it on a set time scale, or were there other effects that you added in to the Death Curse that affected the gameplay? Cool. I like that. I like that a lot. That's not how I get this bright screen off. Here we go. Right, so they also learned, the players, while they were in Port Nyanzaru, that they probably should get 2 things before they head out into the jungles. One of them is, it's like milestone XP. I also like that idea, yeah. One of the things that they learn they probably should get is eventually they should get a guide to go through the jungles, and they learn that one of the merchant princes sort of sanctions guides and gets a cut of their pay and all of that, and if they don't want to piss off that prince, they should probably hire one of his. And the other thing is that if they, they don't have to, but if they don't want to run afoul of the Flaming Fists who are in Chult, who, because our 3-player or character PCs had been living in Baldur's Gate, they know the Flaming Fists very well. So if they don't want to run afoul of them, they should probably head up to Fort Balurian, the Flaming Fist stronghold just north of the city that they are currently in, and get a writ of exploration or a charter of exploration. So that is where we're going to start today's session in about just under 2 hours. They have traveled up to Fort Balurian. On their way is where I had the unfortunately balanced yellow creeper zombie encounter that killed Sharon. My bad. It's fine. But anyway, so they're going to arrive at Fort Balurian today. So let's take a look at some Fort Balurian stuff. Let's see. Let's close this down for a moment. Let's see. Fort Balurian. Let me find it on here, and then I will bring it up for you all to see. Oh yeah, let's get this picture up, and then over here we can go to Fort Balurian. There we go. Oops, not what I meant to do. They should go there. I should go here. Okay, there we go. And let me just get this out of the way. There we go. Okay, so this picture over here on the left is Liana Portier. She is, also I wish it was a little more centered, but what can you do? Liana Portier is the commander at Fort Balurian. Let's see if I can do it this way. Yeah, now you can see Oliver. There we go. Liana is the commander at Fort Balurian. She's not a good woman, we'll say. She's not terrible, but she definitely is in league with some pirates, which is sort of a mark against her. But that said, she does keep the fort running pretty well, keep things in order, keep her charges there safe, and reasonably well paid. She feels like being sent out to Chult as an assignment is a test. Most of the people under her command feel like they were banished, but what are you gonna do? So the party is going to arrive somewhat beleaguered, one of them undead. It's going to be exciting. I don't really know what their plan is other than that they have come up here to get a writ of exploration, permission to explore the jungles that are controlled by the Flaming Fists. My guess is that they'll probably come in and ask for that immediately, and quite frankly, I just want them to go ahead and meet Liara to get stuff rolling, because she's got some cool stuff that she can inform them of and ask them to do and stuff like that. So when the players get there, they'll be welcomed in. I'll let them have a little time to look around, even if they request the charter right away. Liara will be busy, and they'll have a little bit of time to explore the fort, sort of see what's going on in there. There are, let me see if I can, where's my, oh my god, I have so many windows. Here we go. Okay, so they're gonna go in. There's all kinds of stuff here in Fort Belurian. There's folks they can buy stuff from at inflated prices, but there's a armorsmith and weaponsmith. There's a little bazaar with like basic adventuring supplies. They will also buy stuff from the characters. They'll buy gems and hides and whatever else they may have collected along the way. So it's a chance for them to have a little bit of money. We are doing like we're using currency and dealing with the economy, but sort of in a very general way. They're keeping track of big gold expenditures, but anything less than a gold, I'm not really like making a big deal of. And quite frankly, anything that's less than 5 gold even, we're sort of just like, you have the money for it, it's fine. There are some bigger expenses though that I'm trying to get them to keep track of, because I think it's an interesting part of this adventure. So they kept track of the money that they had to spend to get the gem for Nanny Poo Poo to bring Sharon back to life. They are going to have to keep track of the gold they spend on this writ of exploration, on any guides they hire, stuff like that. So, and if we'll see, I sort of talked to them about it and they were like, yeah, let's give it a try. So we're doing that. What else is here in Fort Belurian? They have possibility for a shopping trip. There's a Temple of Helm. I don't think any of our characters are particularly religious, so that's not probably going to be a huge draw for them. There's some stables that won't catch their eye much probably, but there's also a jousting field, so maybe there'll be a jousting tournament for them to watch while they're here. That could be fun. What else do we have here? Provisioners, barracks, Bailey's courtyard. There's a raptor pen that's got some Hadrosauruses and Deinonychuses that they can go look at. That's pretty cool. What else is here? Yeah, the big thing here is that eventually, after they've had a chance to explore, I'm going to have them meet Liara, chat with Liara. Liara is going to see that they're adventurers, and she's going to offer, and they're going to ask for the writ. She's going to offer them the writ for free if they do, normally it costs 50 gold, if they do some things for her. Now, this is where I'm really excited about this campaign and about the fact that I've sort of turned off the ticking clock, because it's been a while since I've run a full campaign that isn't for public consumption, whether via a stream or my podcast, and so we're not in a hurry, and so I can give them, all of the side quests that they want. They can ignore whatever they want. We can go off on tangents, and we can be chill and I don't have to worry about, oh, is this boring for the people who are listening or watching, or oh, we haven't dealt with the story in a while. All of that. I'm excited about being able to do all these things. So I've tossed a couple of side quests and missions and stuff at them in Port Nyanzaru, and it seems that Liara is going to have a few other things to offer them. So she has according to the adventure, she has 3 different missions that she can ask them to go on in exchange for a free writ of exploration and or charter of exploration and possibly some other rewards. The first one that's sort of base level, which I think is the one that she will start off offering them, since they are only 2nd level at this point, is that she asks them to help rid the jungle of ghouls. There are huge swaths of the jungles of Chult that are overrun by undead. And so Liara wants to clear the undead out of the jungles, and she offers a free charter of exploration and 20 gold for every severed ghoul head the characters bring her. Now, sort of like Carl mentioned, like this requires them returning to Fort Belurian at some point, which, you know, with a ticking time bomb of 1 HP a day, or a D4 of HP a day, you just really can't afford. I mean, Fort Belurian is 5 to 7 days away from Port Nyanzaru just to get back and forth between the two. And there's just no way that players who are watching their you know, patron, their boss's health tick away day by day, there's just no way that they're going to want to go back to anywhere that they've already been. So hopefully this slowing down of things will make that a little bit easier for them. So Liara is going to offer them this ghoul hunter thing, and I guess so there's all kinds of undead in the jungles that we can totally use, but I think my thing is how do we make ghoul encounters a little more interesting than just, you know, fighting some undead. And let's see, let's see if I can find why can't I find the random encounter table? Should be here somewhere. The expedition begins. Travel distances, navigation. I'll bring it up for you all as soon as I find it. Sorry. Random encounters. Here we go. Okay. It's in Appendix B, and we're looking for wilderness encounters. Okay. So let's, let me see if I can't bring this up for you all so you can see a little bit of the tables that I'm working with here. Random encounters, Appendix B. All right, so, I'm going to have to move this over again. Sorry, y'all. Move this over this way. Open. Oops. Oh, it's long. Don't. Ding. All right, here we go. All right, so here's a little bit of the random encounter tables. These are for Port Nyanzaru. We're not in Port Nyanzaru. Wilderness encounters. Okay, here's what we want. So in theory, what are our undead options? Let's just have a look. I'm going to look here at the greater undead because that's where the most undead are found. So let's just see what we've got. Artis Cimber, not going to worry about that. Cash, Allosaurus, Deinonychus, dinosaurs, blah, 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 blah. Ooh, so Emerald Enclave, Dead Explorer, Flaming Fist, Giant Wasps, Man Traps. Is that what that said, or did I just misread it? No, it does say Man Traps. I know the green is sort of hard to read. Oh, also it looks like I've cut it off for you all. There we go. Do you know the story of Chult and Rasen Sea? The origin of the undead problem is pretty interesting, to me anyway. Oh yeah, for sure. So that will definitely be something that the characters eventually begin to pick up on, although I don't want to point them to Raz and the Yuan-Ti too early, because obviously that will ultimately send them down to Omu, which is where then the adventure sort of really, or the campaign really kicks into high gear in terms of the end game. So I don't want to point them down to Omu too quickly, but yes, I agree. The whole story of everything going on there is very cool. All right, Terrafolk, blah 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 blah. Where are my undead? Oh, well, they're in alphabetical order here, where it says undead. Genius, huge. All right, so let's see what we got. We have undead ghouls, which is ultimately what they want to find. Skeletons, specters, wights, and zombies. Okay, so that's fine, right? But we have all kinds of exciting things that we can do with undead that, let's see, this book was published when? I don't even remember. A couple years ago, maybe? So we've had new books out that have introduced new possible undead monsters for us. So let's have a look and see what other interesting undead we can toss in other than just ghouls, skeletons, and zombies. Let's see. Let's get a challenge rating. Let's go from 1/4. I don't want to go too much higher than they are yet. So this is just to look at something that they might encounter today in our session if they want to take Liara up on her offer to get rid of some undead. Particularly, it says she asks for ghouls, but maybe she'll be willing to take other heads as well. Alright, so lots of skeleton things, yellow musk zombies, fine. Shadows, we sort of need corporeal undead if they're going to bring heads back. Undead cockatrice, that's sort of fun. Ghouls, husk zombie. Oh, those are some wild mount things that I don't know about. We might come back to that. Indentured spirits are things for the Orzhov Syndicate and Ravnica. Let's see, what else do we have here? Oh, you all can't see these names. Man, I'm bad at this. Alright, sorry. I'm trying to keep things organized, but I'm really making it very difficult on you all to, like, see what I'm looking at. There we go. It's not pretty, but there you can at least see them. Spectres, Strahd Zombie. That would be interesting. Ghasts. We could, of course, toss Ghasts as them if we wanted a higher level challenge, but that's not exactly what I'm looking for. Undying Soldier, Will-O-Wisp. I mean, we're definitely going to have some undead dinosaurs later on. Okay. Alright, well, so in terms of just different monster stat blocks that we can use, nothing that's super catching my eye, which is totally fine, particularly at their level. Nothing is super catching my eye, so the next option, the next step then, is to just flavor the ghouls and zombies a little bit differently to make them a little more interesting. Set up, you know, the way that we set up the encounters, we're going to change up a little bit. So let's go back to the Tomb of Annihilation source. We're going to go to Wilderness Encounters. And let's just see if by any chance... Yeah, let's scroll down to the undead thing. And let's just see what this book... Oh, I did it again. Let's see what the book sets up for us in terms of the setting of these random encounters and see how we can then tweak that from there. Goblins, Grungs, Mad Monkey Mist. Oh, I definitely want them to get Mad Monkey Fever at some point. Alright, here we go. Skeleton... Oh. Undead. Undead are spreading through the jungles like a plague. The Emerald Enclave, the Order of the Gauntlet, and the Flaming Fist are taking steps to contain it, but their efforts to date have fallen short. Alright, so the ghouls, they can hear and smell a pack approaching. 2d6 ghouls led by a Ghast. That ain't no joke. Ghast has a blue triangle tattooed on its forehead, an indicator that it once served Ross and C, so there you go. So that's a little bit of an introduction of that story, which might be enough interesting flavor, just that there is some mysterious mark on them. That's cool. Skeletons, either buried under the ground. If the party's camped, skeletons wander into the camp and attack. I might end up using the skeletal juggernaut from the Ghosts of Saltmarsh adventure from Isle of the Abbey. That one's super cool. It's like all these skeletons come together and build this enormous skeletal bone creature that can, like... I don't remember what the name of the ability is called. We can look it up later. But essentially it can, like, discorporate its bones that, like, spread out in a big wave and do slashing damage and knock people over, and then it rebuilds its stuff. It has itself, rather. It has some cool mechanics that I might want to toss in. So that's an idea for that. Spectres. They can look for the body. Oh, that's interesting. White. Somebody that's lurked in the Chultan jungle since the Spell Plague. Wow. Okay. And then some zombies, and we can get... All right, so in terms of the undead, I think maybe just having this beginning of the hint of, Carl, what you pointed out, the beginning of the hint of Ross and C and that history might be enough to make this interesting. Also, they're going to be scared of combat for a little while since I accidentally killed Sharon last time. Whoops. Okay, cool. So that is some information on the undead. Now, the other two possible things that Liara might ask them to do are a little bit more involved. So I think the way I'm going to have her do it is that she'll offer them the ghoul thing, and if they come back with, you know, at least a couple of heads at some point, then she might ask them to do some of the other things on her list. So some of the other things include, she asks them to set sail for Shilku Bay, which is just a bay here in Chult. Houses an old destroyed village, and she just wants to know what the characters see there. She's willing to, of course, give them a free charter of exploration. She'll also, though, if they come back and just report on what they find in the destroyed village of Shilku, she'll also give them, each character will get a potion or a scroll that they've got here in Fort Balurian, which is good. None of them are healers, as you can see from the list of characters that we have, so I'm trying to be very open-handed with my potions of healing for them. She'll also give them free room and board whenever they visit Fort Balurian if they do this for her. I don't know what's in Shilku Bay, if I'm honest. I haven't read through all of the locations, and I don't know what's there. Let's see. Shilku Bay. Lava still erupts from the volcano that destroyed Shilku, and it flows like a glowing river down into this bay. The sulfurous water is poisonous, so most of the bay's sea life is dead, and the surrounding shore is barren. Safe landing spots can still be found, but a sailing ship that cruises along the eastern shore near Shilku is likely to lose its sails and possibly much more to the red-hot stones that infrequently rain down from the sky. Interesting. What a strange place for her to send them. I suppose if... Oh, here we go. Here's Shilku, the city, or the town. The village was destroyed and preserved by the volcanic eruption. Oh, so it's like Pompeii. The streets are buried in ash. The harbor is choked with cooled lava. Let's see. Liara is under pressure from her patrons in Baldur's Gate to explore and excavate the city for treasures that are undoubtedly entombed there. Interesting. Mephits, fire newts, salamanders, and other heat-loving creatures prowl its ashen alleys and bore tunnels into cellars long sealed by volcanic stone. Interesting. So there's not a ton in the book. There's just a lot of great ideas for things that you could flesh out Silku with. And we're going to see how I feel when they come back to Fort Balurian in the future, whether or not Liara asks them to do this. Because it's just going to see like how creative I'm feeling and how much I want to put into, fleshing out Silku and the dangers that they might see there a little bit more. So we'll see. That's interesting. We'll see. The third, let's go back to Liara and her possible missions. The third mission that's listed that she might give them is to investigate some reports of strange tracks, giant footprints that have been spotted south of Fort Balurian. Turns out, spoiler alert, those tracks are because of some frost giants that have come to Chult in search of the Ring of Winter. But she doesn't know that, so she wants to find out what's going on. The trick is she's not going to believe that... Wow, you're running TOA. Oh, hey, Fluffy, nice to see you. While you're running TOA as well, you're busy. Yes, I am. This is for my boyfriend and a couple of friends of mine, one of whom is brand new to D&D. So, yeah. I forgot what I was saying. Oh, she doesn't believe that frost giants have come if you tell her, so you have to bring some sort of proof to her. And if they do bring proof, she offers, obviously, a free writ of... free charter of exploration. She also offers them, what does she offer them? 5 magic arrows. 5+1 arrows. Nice. What else? Yep, that looks like that. So that's definitely something for later on. It's also possible that the players will just happen across those footsteps in their explorations, and so when they come back to Fort Balurian later, Liara might ask them about it, and they'll already have the answer ready. How lovely would that be? Yeah. All right. So, sorry, I bet that was loud and horrible. I apologize. All right. So, that's, I think, what today is going to be. They're going to get into Fort Balurian. They're going to talk to... Oh, I should switch back over here. They're going to get to Fort Balurian. They're going to talk to Liara. And they're going to get the mission about get the request to get those ghoul heads. They'll get their charter of exploration. And then I'm not sure what their plan is. I think probably what they'll do next is go back to Port Nyanzaru. Oh my god, words. Go back to Port Nyanzaru and start looking for a jungle guide. And here's another place where I'm just going to... Let's get the list of those up. I'm just going to give them all of the options from Fort Balurian. I mean, from Port Nyanzaru. And yeah, here they all are. So I'm just going to give them all of the options. I'll make it... we'll see if they end up figuring out... There's a few that are not sanctioned by the merchant prince in charge of this sort of thing, so we'll see if they can figure out who those people are. But I think I'm just going to give them all of these options because they're all great, and I want them to be able to choose, and I don't want to choose for them or limit their options. And I'm really trying to, again, because this isn't for a podcast, it's not for a stream, we're not in a hurry. I really want to just give over all and complete control for the things that I can, like who's going to guide them, at least for the first part of their explorations. These two look very similar, I am just noticing. Let's show you that there. Yeah, these two look very similar. Funny. So, yeah. I just can't stop looking at how similar. I'm trying to like figure out if they just reskin them or if they're both just dwarves or what's going on here, but they do look real similar. Doo-doo. Anyway. So yeah, that's the other thing that they might get back to Fort Balur. Oh my god, to Port Nyanzaru. Fort Balurian's on my brain. And look through these guides and figure out who they want to bring with them. All right. You're all delightful, and I want to tell you the truth, which is that I am feeling a little, I don't know, distracted? Maybe I'm hungry? I don't know. So, also, I was not planning on doing this prep with you all this morning because I kind of have already prepped for today's session, but I discovered that the Neverwinter servers were down. So, let's maybe spend 20 minutes. We'll click around. If there's any questions that you all have about Tomb of Annihilation, we can chat about that. If you just want to chat about nothing, that's also totally fine. But I think we'll do another about 20 minutes, and then I'm going to get myself some food and get ready for the session mentally at 1. I'm sorry this stream has not been anything that I said it was going to be. It's not Neverwinter the MMO. It's not really session DM prep because I already did it and my brain is a little slow this morning. But, you know, I appreciate y'all showing up to hang out anyway. Let's see. I love the guides. What I did with them is decide that each one knew a different part of Chult, and thus, over time, the party dealt with most of them. That is brilliant. I love that. And they do sort of have that, right? Like, they do. Let's go back to this other chapter about Port Nyanzaru, because they have information about the guides and like what they know here in this chapter as well. That's a great idea. And all I really have to do then is expand on what each of them already says. So let's see. Let's start with this were-tiger, Azaka Stormfang. What does Azaka know? Works out of Port Nyanzaru, conceals lycanthropy. Fair enough. She'll guide them for free if they help her retrieve an item that was stolen by the Terrafolk of Firefinger. If questioned about the stolen item, Azaka responds only that it's a family heirloom. Okay. So, Teos, let me ask you then, when you ran it, what were the players looking for when they were out exploring the jungles? Like, obviously they're looking for the Soulmonger, and we know that eventually they're going to have to look for Omu in order to find that, blah, 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 blah. But, like, what did your players think they were looking for? Like, what was their impetus to go out? What was their method of exploration? Because that's also something that I'm struggled with. I definitely want to... I listened to... I'm trying to remember. It must have been behind the DM screen maybe, and Jeff and Sam and Mike were talking about... actually, I think Mike had already left the episode at this point, but they were talking about, you know... keeping mysteries and secrets from your players is, like, fine, but ultimately, like, you're really going to want to give them clues and, like, give them information more than a lot of DMs are sort of inclined to, because we want to keep the mystery, but, like, your players just need to know stuff. Otherwise, you know, it's not a mystery, it's just, right, ignorance of the situation. So I'm a little bit struggling with how to give them the hint or the information that ultimately they need to go to Omu. Because also I feel like once they figure out that they have to go to Omu, they're going to go to Omu, right? And that's going to sort of narrow our field of vision and is going to cut down on the exploration of other stuff around. And maybe that's just how the adventure goes. Maybe that's not a problem. Maybe that's not a bad thing. I'm just so excited about all of the cool stuff in Chult, and I want to do it all, which obviously we're not going to do in this campaign. That's not the point. Leave a matchbook that says Omo on it for them to find. Perfect. Just once they've done all of the things in Chult, they'll find a matchbook under a ghoul's body that says Omu. I love that idea. All right, well, let's see. Let's keep looking at what we've got here. Okay, so Azaka Stormfang knows Firefinger and the area around it. So let's have a look at, let's go back to our Roll20 and look at the map of Chult. Again, spoiler, I'm going to the DM map of Chult, which does not have stuff hidden. So we're going to see all the things. And let's see if we can find Firefinger. If anybody's... I found it. Okay, so here's Firefinger. Up here. Right there. So, it would make sense then, if they meet this person in Port Nyanzaru, that essentially they are the ones that know... maybe, you know, we could be broad and say, like, this whole northern area of the peninsula down as far south as Firefinger. So they would know about probably the ruins of... maybe we'll just keep them to the east of Port Nyanzaru. So they would know about the ruins of Mesro. They might know about Port Castigliar. And that's, you know, maybe that's it. Maybe those are the things they know. Maybe they haven't gone all the way east to this frost giant boat over here. So that's cool. I like that idea. Next, we're going to go through these quickly and just sort of see what areas they would overlap based on what's written in their descriptions. And then we can, of course, adjust it from there. So Eku is a disguised Coatl. Yes, I remember this. She knows Omu. But she doesn't advertise the fact. So that's definitely something to keep in mind. She had great love and respect for the people of Mabala. Oh, Nanny Poo Poo again. I have a feeling they're going to end up at Mabala one way or another eventually. But if the characters travel anywhere near Mabalu and Echo is with them, she asks them to help rid the world of Nanny Poo Poo once and for all. We weren't the only group looking for the Soulmonger. We were competing with the Red Wizards, and they aren't an inconspicuous bunch, so we'd hear about them somewhere and explore where they were. That's a good point, too. I do often forget about the Red Wizards, although I love Valindra Shadowmantle. I think she's a great character. Who's winning Major Victory? I'm not sure what you're asking, Victory. Because it's D&D, so we all win / no one wins. All right, so let's see. Mabala is down here. So that's cool. And then Omu's way down south. So it feels like Eku really knows a big chunk of the jungles, and maybe she's the one that ultimately is going to lead them to Omu at the end. Valindra is who told you about Omu. Ah, there you go. There you go. Clearly, we just need to have the Soulmonger get whisked away to Barovia at the last minute. Yes, and then my Curse of Strahd campaign characters can meet my Tomb of Annihilation characters, and they can all kill Strahd and destroy the Soulmonger together. Oh boy, you know what this sounds? This sounds like a patented Jeff Greiner campaign. If you all don't listen to the Tome Show network of podcasts, first of all, you should, because they're great. But Jeff likes to mash up a bunch of different storylines all together. So right now, I'm forgetting, behind the DM screen, he talks about it all the time. I'm forgetting I think he's been doing Waterdeep Dragon Heist, but tossing in hints about Barovia because the Margrave from Kobold Press's Midgard campaign setting was originally located in Barovia, but now finds itself outside of Waterdeep. So his players have explored the Margrave Forest, and eventually they're going to end up in Barovia, but they're also learning bits and pieces about Baldur's Gate and the Avernus campaign. So I think they're eventually going to end up in Avernus too. It's fascinating, and I actually one of the other DMs on behind the DM screen sort of gives him shit about it, but I think it's fascinating, and his players seem to be into the way that he does it, so I think it's kind of a cool idea. I love the idea of like an MCU, like unified universe of all D&D games and adventuring parties and campaigns and stuff. I talk with Lauren Urban from D&D Beyond about that all the time, about like, you know, all of our streams and podcasts and home campaigns like should come together to defeat the ultimate evil one day. Anyway, blah, blah, blah. And they lived happily ever after. Yeah, exactly. They did that with the Minsk and Boo comics. I love that. Yeah, exactly. I've been saying like D&D Live 2022 or something. Just like everybody who has content like just comes together. Lauren and I talked about how her her character from Beyond Heroes, Okira, who has already been to visit several other content creators' shows, is sort of the unifying factor that brings us all together in the end. Anyway, all right, so yes, I think Eku then is our guide for when they ultimately want to go find Omu. Farul and Gondolo. Now, these guys, I believe, are not, as I recall, they are not sanctioned by Jobel, the merchant prince, which is super fun. So the map that they have, blah, blah, they're incompetent. They have Zongo, their pack Triceratops, which I do love. They bought a treasure map that miraculously accurately indicates the location of Needle's Bones. All right, let's find where that is on our map. Needle's Bones. Okay, so they maybe know this whole area here. They've seen they can guide our adventurers to this little area here with oh, you can see my but it's moved over. So there we go. Now you can see it. Yeah, this whole area here. Wow, a flatulent racing triceratops is certainly a phrase I never expected to read, and that's why we love D&D, Fluffy. That's why we love it here. So maybe these guys can lead them to Ataz Muhaha, to the Wreck of the Narwhal, obviously the Needle's Bones, and to Kir Sabal. Okay, I like that. So we've got that section taken care of. We've got this section taken care of, which is great. Who's next? Hugh Hackenstone, part of a dwarven expedition seeking to reopen the Wormheart mine. Okay, so let's see where that is. I think that's, if I remember correctly, that's over on this side somewhere. Wormheart mine. Yeah, so it's way down here. Okay, so he's got the Cobalt Mountains covered, Wormheart mine, Hrakamar, maybe Shilku and Ataz Yaklawazi, maybe if we need that. Okay, so we've got this taken care of. Can I ask for advice? Of course you can. I'm happy to give you, take my advice with a grain of salt. Who am I? But, yeah, of course you can. Okay, then we've got Musharib. He'll gladly serve as a guide out of Port Nyanzaru, but he's secretly looking for adventurers to help reclaim Hrakamar. That's the same area. Interesting. Okay, that's fine. But these two dwarves do sort of seem to overlap a bit, so maybe we're going to move one of them. We'll see. What else we got? We got Kawasha and Kupalue, who I think are actually in Fort Belurium, but I might move them to Port Nyanzaru. We'll see, just to sort of keep things simple. They're Emerald Enclave members. Love that. Walking Weed, Vegapygmy. Love it. Quash would like to rid the jungle of its undead menace, so he deliberately leads adventurers through undead-infested regions. Cool. As he travels through the jungle... let me hop over to this question from Major Victory. I've got a warlock medium bad guy that my group is fighting next session. His first fight he had to bail and run. I'm wondering if you have any ideas to make him a little more menacing this time around. Okay, so this is always sort of a question, right? How to make him more menacing, how to make your big bad evil guys, or even your medium bad evil guys, scary, because the reality is, any combat that is the party versus one person, even if it's a big bad evil guy, unless it's like miles and miles and miles more powerful than them, it's gonna go in favor of the players, because action economy is just going to mean that 3 to 5 player characters all getting actions to attack this one big bad evil guy is always going to outweigh that big bad evil guy, to a point, regardless of power level. Obviously, if you've got second level characters and you throw a Tarask at them, they're not going to kill the Tarask. He's got a lot of help this time: a bodyguard, girlfriend, a thief nearby, a mage pressed into service, and a big brute. So that was exactly going to be the first thing that I recommended, was that he have minions and lieutenants and other servants that balance out the numbers in the combat a little bit. They'll be fighting in a warehouse. You are way ahead of me. The next thing I was going to say is make the location interesting. The other thing is why are they, I guess my question for you is, why are they why are they fighting him? What has he done or what does he have? That's a bit of information that will be helpful in me coming up with other ways to make him more menacing. So while I wait for you to hear this because of the delay and then type an answer, I'm going to look at these. I would also recommend to add in some environmental hazards akin to layer actions. Yes, exactly. Set pieces in your encounter. So interesting things to climb on, dangerous things that they can fall off of or fall into or run into. And things that, that your warlock or maybe the mage that's there can hide with illusions or can create with conjuration spells, things like that. Keep the setting interesting in addition to the individuals for combat. All right, so going through undead. He recommends that they purchase. Okay, so these two don't. I will come back to your question, Victory, I promise. I just am curious about what it is that they want from this guy or why they're fighting him. That might help a little bit as well. So the Kawasha and Kupalue don't have specific locations, so that's good to know. One of the dwarves we might change, and these two we can sort of put anywhere that isn't covered by the other guides. So that's good to keep in the back pocket. Maybe the warlock has the place trapped, or there could be a moving conveyor belt or grinding gears, something to make it interesting. Yeah. Again, environmental stuff, grinding gears, conveyor belt, like that sort of stuff that also, now I know we talked earlier in this stream, I don't know if you were here, Victor, but we talked about like how I didn't want a ticking time bomb campaign-wide for this Tomb of Annihilation campaign, but in combat, that can be really exciting, right? The longer it takes them to defeat this guy or to get what they want, the closer they get, or maybe an ally of theirs gets to, being destroyed or killed or seriously injured or taken away because they're, riding this conveyor belt out. That sort of thing can be really exciting. He's a leader of the Thieves Guild that's stepping on the toes of the existing ruling clans in the city they're in. His underlings stole stuff from them when they spent the night. I'm going to move this over a little bit. His underlings, I wonder if I can get this up on here. Hold on 1 second. No, okay. When they spent the night and didn't set watch, they've gotten help and a blessing from one of the city's clan leaders. Nice. They've tracked their stolen stuff to his warehouse. They've scouted the warehouse and are currently stealthing around inside. We left the session with the warlock baddie showing up unexpectedly to check on something unrelated at the warehouse. Okay. So, it sounds like the start of this next session is them either going to be trying to avoid the warlock baddie or trying to sneak around and set up some sort of an ambush on him. So that already can be very exciting, right? Stealth checks, moving around. Again, use the boxes in the warehouse, use the setting stuff that you've got there to make it interesting. Sounds like he's got other folks. The warlock has other folks with him, so place them around in places where they are going to need to, keep an eye on lots of different NPCs at once to make sure they're not spotted. I think, can I post a link to his character sheet to the warlocks? Yeah, why don't you whisper it to me and then I'll put it up in the chat. Because I turned off my Streamlabs thing, so the permissions thing has changed, and anyway, it'll be faster this way. Just shoot me a whisper with the link, and then I'll put it up in chat. Let me make sure that I have this one. Okay, here we go. So now I'll actually see whispers, because I'm kind of a doofus and sometimes I miss them. Sometimes you can protect a boss when it makes sense to do so. Maybe their pact has given them a shield of temporary hit points that refreshes each round, but the characters can disable that if they do something, such as smash a glowing idol. Or the warlock could have used some spell scrolls that are useful. Fire shield, mirror image, etc. You can tie spells that aren't class spells to a one-shot magic item they have. The key is for it to be a fun challenge. Yes to all of that. I was actually going to suggest that maybe the mage stays hidden, and the mage has cast some protective spells or some buff spells of some sort on this warlock as well. Yes, I just got your whispers. He's got a cane with silence and darkness and color spray on it. Okay, so those are good. Maybe the all right, let's have a look at this. Yeah, so maybe the mage is hiding somewhere and has cast some sort of concentration spell on them. So I don't know what level your players are, but maybe they can try to dispel magic, but if that doesn't work, they're going to have to find this mage and get him to break concentration. That's another sort of, other thing that they have to, make choices about. Are they going to go after the mage? Are they going to go directly for the warlock? That sort of thing. User guest. Okay. All right, so let's see. Oh, this is very cool. Here's what I'll do. Since we're talking about this, link might not work. No, it worked. You're good. You're good. This is a cool character sheet. Here's what I'm actually gonna do. If you don't mind, I will just toss it up on screen on the overlay, if that's cool with you. Let's see. Let's change this one over real quick. Oh, I can't find it. Sorry, hold on. Chrome. Oh, this one, I think. Nope, that was the wrong button. Here we go. Found him. My players are all sleeping and not watching. Oh, you're in Hawaii. Nice. All right. So yeah, here's, let me open this up a little bit and then we can have a look at his character sheet too. There you go. All right. Now we can see a little more clearly. Let's have a look at his spells. But yeah, I think what Taya said is a great idea. Just don't feel like you are hemmed in by the specifics that are by the specific abilities and skills and numbers that are on the character sheet, right? They're excellent guidelines, but maybe he's got scrolls, maybe the mage is doing other things, and you know, you want it to be fun. It's not a problem if your players defeat him. It's only a problem if they don't enjoy the process of defeating him, right? So, you know, sometimes, and this has happened to me, you know, sometimes we set up these great big set piece encounters with the big bad evil guy, and the players figure out some super clever way to like one-shot him or one-round him, and that can feel like a failure on the part of the DM. But if the players like really feel like powerful badasses because they were smart and they were clever and they did something that just really, you know, completely destroyed them, and they enjoyed that, that's okay, right? That doesn't have to be necessarily a bad thing. He's meant to be defeatable. He just got away last time. Got it. So even better, right? So that your players already have this thing with him, right? That they wanna go after him. He got away once, and they want to go after him. So yeah, Charm Person Counterspell. Okay, Counterspell is great, right? For any of your spell casting. Same thing with Dispel Magic. You know, maybe you wanna, maybe he's gonna, I know he's only got 2 spell slots. Maybe give him a Rod of the Pack Keeper so he can have 3 spell slots. Maybe he's gonna Hex one of your players and Hex their Wisdom so that they have a harder time finding him or finding the mage with Wisdom Perception checks. I try to keep my NPCs realistic. Yeah, that's great. Also, something to be mindful of, NPCs are not player characters. They don't have to have the same setup as a PC of equivalent power. Right, absolutely. Ish, I see your question. We're quickly talking about Major Victory's upcoming battle, and then I'm going to hop back very quickly to Tomb of Annihilation before we get done today. But yeah, I haven't used Earth Curse. That's probably on here somewhere, and I'm just not seeing it, but I'd give him a custom magic item which you can steal the spell slots of the mage. Oh, that's kind of a cool idea. I for sure have made level 25 characters who are meant to be head of organizations. Yeah. Yeah. So that was sort of like a brainstorm, you know, word vomit set of ideas from me and from Teos, who's fantastic, and from Fluffy, who's got great ideas. So just sort of take all that and see what fits best in you know, your style and your game with your players. But I think to sort of sum it all up, right? Use the environment and make interesting, possibly dangerous environmental factors. Protect the warlock in interesting and unexpected ways that might also lead to, you know, side goals in the combat, whether it's the mage who's protecting him or magic items that have to be destroyed, you know, crystals or whatever that are protecting him, just other things that the party would have to do rather than directly attacking the warlock all the time. And also, you know, don't be afraid to sort of change things up as you go just to keep things fun and interesting. And like you said, you already know that they're going to be able to defeat him, so that's okay when that is inevitably the outcome. I think that's great. I think I might take a page from Matt Colville, have him definitely an option as well. So yeah, there's some good ideas, and you know, it sounds like you know your players pretty well, and they're going to have a good time. So have fun with it. Yeah, I love that. Love that. All right. So real quick, let's just let's head back to Tomb of Annihilation briefly. Ish, to answer your question, I am dealing with the death curse. I have changed it, though, because I don't want to rush the players. I don't want that ticking time of 1 HP a day for their patron. Also, one of the players, oops, I accidentally killed them last week, so they were brought back by Nanny Poo Poo, but their max HP is going down as well. So I've slowed everything down to, instead of being once a day, being once a 10 day. We're going to see how that goes for a little while. Teos also had a great idea of having phases of the death curse that sort of happen at, DM determined time intervals. So if this once a 10 day thing also feels too fast, that's also an option that I've got in my back pocket that I think was really clever. That I've got for them there, because I've said this already a few times, but I don't want to rush them. I want them to be able to feel like they're exploring Chult. This is a home game. It's not for anyone to watch or listen to, so we're not in a hurry. We don't have to stick to, interesting and exciting main quest stuff every single session. Obviously, I want things to be interesting and exciting every single session, but it doesn't have to quite follow the storyline like I feel like I do when I'm, running a game that other people are going to be listening to or watching. Can I add a recommendation for the Death Curse stuff? Of course you can. Yeah, absolutely. Love to hear it. Meanwhile, let's see. I've got so many windows. Can't find the one I want. Here we go. This one. And this one. While Fluffy is doing that, I'm going to look at the last few guides that we've got. So River Mist and Flask of Wine, which are 2 tabaxis. Oh, they are definitely not sanctioned by Jobel. That's good to know. River and Flask. They can guide characters to Firefinger and Dungrunglung. All right, we've already got somebody that can lead us to Firefinger, but Dungrunglung is a little further south, so we could use them to do this southern area here. Dungrunglung, Heart of Ubtao, maybe Nangalore or Mbala if we want to deal with that. Okay, so that's this chunk here in the center. I like that. Salida, Yuan-Ti Spy. Works for Rasen C. Interesting. So obviously she knows where Omu is, but presumably she won't want to take them there. Okay, she doesn't have any specific areas either other than not Omu, I think. So maybe if we don't have anyone else here to do Yeliark and Vorn and Camp Vengeance and Camp Righteous, maybe that's what she can do. And then finally Shago, who's a gladiator, only son of Xanthi, one of the merchant princes. Yep. He's in league with the Flaming Fist. Okay. All right, and he also we can put anywhere, so that's good. Maybe have a mechanic where they can petition some sort of powerful patron, akin to like a warlock patron or a deity, for protection from the death curse, which delays the effect of it as long as they have their patron's protection. That's interesting. So there's a couple of options for that. Of course, I can leave that open to the players if they have, but as part of, But as part of it, they have to either follow a code of conduct from the patron or have to go on a specific quest for them to keep approval. Yeah, so I like that second idea, the sort of quest idea, because again, any opportunity I have to encourage them to look at more of Chult, the better. Obviously, if the players come up with anything for that, that's great. But like Ubtao might be an interesting option for that patron. The what is left of the spirit of Ubtao, which I think is not much as written, but you know, let's see, what is it called? The Shrine of Ubtao? Is that what I'm looking for? Where is it? I just saw it on the map. Heart of Ubtao. Heart of Ubtao. Let's see what it says about Ubtao, because I think that could be really fun, that maybe they have to, like, they somehow get in touch with what is left of Ubtao, and then they have to go find the Heart of Ubtao, which of course is where they're going to meet Valindra, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, that's I like that idea. I like that idea a lot. Let me, oh, well, you all can't see the document that I'm going to put it on, but I'm going to put it back on that document. Death Curse options. Powerful patron, Ubtao, question mark. To delay effects of Death Curse as long as PCs hold favor. Mission! Exclamation point. That was supposed to be a single idea, This way there's still consequence for dying, but doesn't make things character destroying. Yeah, totally. Yeah, I love that. I think that's a great idea. I got to work out some options for them for this powerful patron, but I like it a lot. I like it. Okay. This has been a weird, scattered stream. I apologize, but also thank you all for sticking with me. Thanks for Teos and Fluffy and Carl for tossing out ideas. Thanks Major Victory for letting us have a little sidetrack mission to help you with your encounter. Thanks Ish for hanging out. Anybody else who is here and lurking and not in the chat, I appreciate you all. I know it was a short one. I sort of got derailed a little bit when the Neverwinter servers were down, and I'd already done prep for today's game, and also I haven't had food, so that's sort of slowing down my brain a little bit. But thanks for hanging out. I super appreciate it. I'll be back on Thursday with some more Dragon Age Origins here on this channel, Thursday and Friday afternoons at 2 p.m. I stream Dragon Age Origins. You can also find me on Wednesday nights, 7 p.m. Eastern, on Little Red Dots channel, playing in a tabletop game of Overlight. And on Thursday nights, after my Dragon Age Origins stream on Wandering DM's channel, we've got one more week of this, playing a game of Dragon Age, the tabletop game that's GM'd by Tanya DePass, Cipher of Tyr. And yeah, that's where you can find me. I'm the DM and producer of an actual play podcast called The Last Refuge. You should check us out as well. Whoops, don't scream. Info in the chat. And hey, thanks everybody for hanging out. Sorry it was a weird and short stream today, but I need to go get some food in my body and get ready for the session and just sort of generally like focus because I'm feeling a little scattered today. But anyway, thank you all for hanging out. You're the best. I will see you all hopefully Wednesday night for Overlight, or if not there, on Thursday afternoon for Dragon Age Origins. You're all delightful. Thank you so much. Stay healthy, stay safe, stay home if you can, wear a mask if you can't, and happy gaming, y'all.